A few weeks ago, 模范教室, or Cube in Classroom, came out with the new Meilong 3x3, and it's currently, if you look on thecubicle.com, the cheapest 3x3 speed cube which they have available. Right now, it's on sale for $2.99 US, which is the cheapest speed cube on their website. Now, let's say even without the sale, the regular price would be $3.99. And that, surprisingly enough, is still tied for the cheapest 3x3 speed cube on their website. And when I say 3x3 speed cube, I mean it's the cheapest 3x3 on their website. So, is a price tag like that, can a cube be actually good if it's that cheap? Well, that's what we're going to find out in this video. The first thing that you notice about this cube is the finish that it has. So it has a bit of a different finish. This here is the Meilong, and this is a WRM. So you can see it's got that like matte finish as opposed to a glossy finish. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly if people like that or not. Personally, I like the glossy finish a little bit better, not because of the looks, but because of the feel. So, the matte finish, in my opinion, is a little slipperier. And so that makes this cube a tad more slippery than the regular 3x3. Apart from the finish, you can see that the colors are also slightly different from the regular Moyu color scheme. So here I've got blue, the blue is a little bit lighter, red is a little bit brighter, yellow seems to be more or less the same, orange seems to be more or less the same as well, white obviously is the same, and the yellow seems to be a little less bright. The second thing that you notice is the weight. So when you pick it up, you can see that it's very light, and in fact it's 74 grams. The only cube that I could find while looking on the cubicle that was lighter than this cube was the GAN Air S, I think. So a regular unmagnetized GAN Air. It was the only cube that I could find that was lighter than this one. So this is definitely one of the lightest cubes that you can find at 74 grams. Now the first thing that you see when you turn it is that you can see that it definitely has a bit of a feel of a budget cube. So it seems to have a plastic that's a little bit different from the, top of the line speed cubes like the WRM. So the plastic feels a little slower. It's got a bit of a sluggish feel to it. Now it's fairly fast, but you'll see that, and it's a little bit hard to describe, but typically budget cubes, their plastic all has more or less the same feel. It's like, it can be fast, yeah, like, sure, it's pretty fast, but it's got a bit of that sluggish feel to it, and it also has a bit of that, toyish kind of flimsiness to it. So when you turn it, it feels kind of like a budget cube. I don't really know exactly how to describe it, but it definitely has that feel when you just do a few turns. And that is, I guess, the overall feeling of the cube. Now, maybe part of the reason that it's sluggish as well is that it's so light. So the pieces don't have very much weight, and so it's not going to have a lot of momentum when you turn it. But nevertheless, if you lubricate it properly, it's not going to hinder your movement. Like, I can still turn fast on it. It's just that when I turn it, I have that kind of sensation of it being a little bit sluggish and a little bit flimsy. But that doesn't mean that it'll stop me from turning quickly. Now the feeling of the cube isn't all bad. Although it has a bit of a flimsy turning to it, a bit of a flimsy feel, it's still quite robust. So I've never had this cube pop on me, and it does have a bit of a blockiness to it, which I think is a little bit reminiscent of the MF3RS. So it feels kind of robust and I suppose a little bit blocky. But at the same time, I think it's probably because of the plastic, but it feels a little bit flimsier while being blocky and robust. It's hard to explain exactly how this works. I said the turning is sluggish. Now, the corner cutting and stuff is up to par with, the regular modern speed cubes, but you can also feel a bit of the sluggishness when you corner cut. If I corner cut with my WRM, for example, it feels different. Like it feels like the plastic is sliding super well, but if I do on this one, yeah, it'll cut it, but I get a bit of that kind of sluggishness when I do the corner cutting. And of course, reverse corner cutting is going to be great as well. Now, despite the fact that it can have good cutting, I find that that slight flimsiness to it makes so that it's sometimes my turns don't get entirely completed, and because of that the cube will jam. I've noticed that with other cubes, sometimes when I get lockups, it's okay. I get a lockup and then I just like let's say I get a lockup here and I'm like, oh okay, and then I'll just continue and keep going. But often I find that with this cube, maybe it's because the fact that I feel like it's a little bit more sluggish. I'm going to put more force in my turns, and so when it locks up I often have to completely re-grip in order to fix it. So like, I'm going to see what I can do and get an example for you. So like here, I got a big lockup and then, now actually like, okay. So here the cube kind of flexed a little bit because it felt a little bit flimsy, and it forced me to something like this. Like you can see, and this is the type of thing that budget cubes do. And so now it sounds like the cube is really bad, but from the way that I'm explaining it, because of the feel. But that really is just a budget cube type of feel. You're not really going to find any budget cube that doesn't have that. But other than the typical budget cube type of things, it has excellent performance. So the turning, although it has a bit of a kind of sluggishness to it, I don't know, maybe it's more of like an aftertaste kind of sluggishness, because it still can be very fast, and if I loop it with DNM, it's going to be just as fast as any other speed cube. Except it seems to wear off faster for some reason. Maybe it's because of the plastics as well. So I consider this to be worn off. But you can see like I can still turn the cube quickly. It's just it doesn't feel, I suppose, as kind of comfortable or as, you know, as fluid as if I was using a WRM, for example. Oh, but like that here, I got a bit of a lockup, and that's typical of the feel. Now, Mo, you did also send me a magnetized version of this cube, which would be, of course, a Meilong M, I suppose. And in fact, I find the magnets do make a very big difference. Now, the flimsiness that is in this cube is the type of flimsiness that you'll notice like on the Aosu GTS 2M, the Aosu GTS 2, which is a bit flimsy, or maybe the Aosu 6x6, not magnetized, which is a little bit flimsy, but then once you put magnets in them, then you can see that the cube can really be awesome. So it's sort of the same thing with this cube. So this one's a little bit flimsy, and then you put magnets in it, and it makes it to be stable, and it's very fast. So see, this is the algo I was having problems on in the other cube, and in this cube, it's working a lot better. And for some reason, this cube, the magnetized one, seems to be a lot faster for me. Now, I'm not entirely sure why, and the turning seems to feel nicer as well, even maybe just the sound. So you can hear that, you can hear this. So this one is a lot more high-pitched, which is usually typical of a lighter, flimsier, cheaper kind of cube. And this one seems a little lower-pitched. Maybe that's just my imagination, but the turning is definitely nicer on the magnetic one. Maybe it's also because the magnets make it heavier. But the magnets definitely seem to make it stabler, definitely seem to make it faster. In fact, I found this cube to be uncontrollable until I put a lot of thick silicone oil in it. And in fact, you can't really tell, but I have a little bit of a hard time controlling it when I do one-handed still, even with all of the heavy silicone oil which I put into it. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that cube, because that's not a cube that you could buy, it's not on the market. Although I'm not sure if they have plans of selling this cube or not. It would probably still be a really cheap cube, and it would be a good cube to have. Now, I think that I still have a tiny bit of misalignment issues with this cube. It does retain a little bit of that flimsiness feel, but it's definitely a lot better and improves the performance. So, final thoughts on the Meilong. The cube is a budget cube. Of course, it's not going to be as good as the cubes that you pay $50 for these days to get. Nevertheless, it has good performance. Either I have posted or I'm going to post a 6.78, I think, average of 5 with this cube. So it just to show that you can still get good times on this cube, but you will also see in those solves that there's a few times that I get those lockups, this kind of lockup where the cube kind of flexes a little bit on its own because there's something about it that makes it not stay quite right. Maybe it's partly also because I'm used to having magnets and this one does not have magnets. But for a beginner, if you're a beginner, that's not really something that you're gonna care about too much because you're not gonna be turning as fast. If I just do kind of a beginner type of turning, you see that the cube is very fluid and it's also fast at the same time. So like beginners, if you don't solve under 10 seconds, you're probably not going to have a TPS which is going to warrant you to need a super fast cube or a cube with magnets. And this cube's speed is great for somebody who's a beginner, and it also feels fluid for somebody who's not turning super fast. It's only when you start really giving the cube kind of trying to go past the speed limit that it gives you a little bit of issues, but for a beginner it can be a great cube. And given it's the cheapest 3x3 on the market, I would say definitely give it a go. If you're a beginner and you don't know which cube to buy and you don't want to spend too much money because you don't want to waste money on a cube when you don't really need such a good cube, then I would definitely go with this cube. And if this one eventually comes on the market, I don't really think it will. I'm not sure exactly if I would recommend it or not, not because I think the cube is bad, but because I think that it's going to be at a price range where it might not necessarily be warranted to buy this cube instead of a top-of-the-line speed cube. In my opinion, intermediate cubes don't really have their place. It's either you go with a beginner's cube that's really cheap, or you go and you get a good cube that'll last you a long time until you get however fast you want to be. But that's just my opinion. This cube is also very good magnetized. So that's it for the video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned about this cube and that you're a little bit more interested about it. Now, as I said, I have a couple videos, or I have at least one video uploaded with this cube. 6.78 average of 5, go ahead and check it out. I also have a 6.78 average of 5, the exact time, that I have with the magnetized version. So if you want, you can go check out the two videos and you can see how the solves compare and see what type of what differences there are in those two, which could be pretty cool too.